Hello students, how are you? I hope you all are good and having good time. Today we are going to do poem 5th, last poem of this subject, that is a roadside stand written by Robert Frost. Okay. Main Robert was born in 26th March 1874 and he has taken his last breath on 29th of Jan 1963. Robert Frost wrote about characters, people and landscapes. His poems are concerned with human tragedies and fears. His reaction to the complexity of life and his ultimate acceptance of his boundaries. Stopping by the wood on the snowy evening, and so many others are their poems. Okay, and in this poem, a roadside stand present the lives of poor, deprived people with pitiless clarity and with the deepest sympathy and humanity. So here main poet wants to, the main theme behind writing this poem is he wants very more concern about poor people. So in this poem also he has shown his things about the same community. Okay. Hello students, now moving ahead with the stanza 1. So here poet is expressing his feelings, and here the discrimination has shown between poor people and rich people, and poor village people wants to sell something and they accept, they want the rich people buy from our shop so that we can also get the needful things, or we can buy and or they can improve their life. But see what can happen. So I am going to read the first stanza. The little old house was out with a little new shade in front at the edge of the road where the traffic speed. A roadside stand that too pathetically peeled, it would not be fair to say for a dole of bread, but for some of the money, the cash whose flow supports the flower of cities from sinking and weathering faint. Okay, so here what poet is expressing his feelings, means the poem Roadside Stand is a poem of Robert Frost, where the poet gives us a realistic picture of the rural area or rural life. He highlights the sad condition of the villagers who were looking for some money to improve their standard of living. Okay, the imitate of an old little house had extended a shade in front of its reached the edge of the road where the traffic passed by. The owner were not begging for bread but hope that the car passing by would stop and buy something from their shop. They were longing to have a feel of currency which the city folks were having in plenty. Then they could buy things needed to improve their condition. Means here the poet wants to express that the villagers are having they are also having self esteem, so they are not begging for the food and everything, but they want rich people come to their shop and buy some products, and so that they can get some currency and they also can feel little bit better. Here some pale means mangna, demand. Okay. Dole means beg money, and the flower of cities. Flower of city means rich and wealthy people. Flower of cities, it means the rich and wealthy people who are passing by the road, passing by the side of the road, and the village people wants that the people stop and buy something from their shops. Okay. Now moving ahead, the polished traffic passed with a mind ahead, or if never aside a movement, then out of shots. At having the landscape marred with the artless paint, or of sign that with N turns wrong and S turn wrong. Offered for sale wild berries in wooden quad. Or okay, now moving ahead, what they are selling. Okay. So, however, the owner were mistaken, as the traffic wizard passed without even a look at the shop. On the contrary, the city people passing by felt bad that the roadside stand was spoiling the beautiful scenery of the mountain. They felt disgusted with the signboard, which were not good to look at, and the word stand had the letter S and N turned wrong. At the stand, wild berries were sold in a wooden. They also used unimpressive words like the place, crock-necked, golden squash with silver wart for the crowds. The place also offered a stay in the lap of nature at a price. Looking at the apathetic attitude of the passer by, the poet called the city drivers as polished traffic, and he seems to tell them to move ahead without glancing at the roadside stand. Okay. Now students, moving ahead with stanza 2. I hope you understand the stanza 1. While you read the poem, that will also you will understand it. Okay. So the moving with the second stanza, you have the money, but if you want to be mean, why keeping your money and go along? The hurt to the scenery would not be my complaint, so much as the trusting sorrow of what is unsaid. Here, far from the city, we make our roadside stand and ask for some city money to feel in hand, to try if it will not make our being expand, and give us the life of the moving picture promise that the party in power is said to be coming from us. So with this, poet wants to say that poet is explaining about their what the village people are feeling when the city people are going through their roadside stands but not taking anything from them, and what they are complaining about, that they are expressing in first paragraph. Poet is expressing his point of view. Now in second paragraph, the village people are expressing their point of view. Okay, so the poet would not complain that the village people are hunting the sceneries. Sceneries means the rich people are complaining about what? Okay, they have made the roadside stands. Because of that, they cannot see the nature or the mountains or the scenery properly. The rich people are thinking that they are destroying or the nature's property. Okay, the poet would not complain that the village people are hunting the scenery. He is worried about the pain that they are actually suffering. He feels for the stand's owner, whose desire is to get. What is the desire from the people who are passing through their stands? They desire that they desire is to get the opportunity to use some money which the city people are easily able to get. That would easy some of their suffering, which the political parties in power deprive them of a good life. They long to have a comfortable life as respected in the movies, but that is not so in reality. Means that the political leaders, poet now complaining about the political leaders also, that they have also not helped them to overcome from their poverties, but they are where they were from last so many years. They were there in the same position and they were there with their pains. Okay, but the political parties are only helping the rich peoples. Okay, in here the poet has given good name, the flower of cities. Okay, so the poet are now complaining this. Okay, so what the roadside people or villagers wants, कि if you can buy something from us, so we can also think to live like you. Okay, we also want good luxuries, we also want good life, so we can also earn good things, we can also buy good luxuries. Okay, now moving ahead students with the third paragraph, I am reading the lines. It is in the news that all this pitiful keen are to be brought out and mercifully gathered in to live in a village next to the theatre and the stores, where they won't have to think for themselves anymore. While greedy good deer, beneficent beast of prey, warm over their lives, enforcing benefits that are calculated to smooth them out of their weeds, and by teaching them how to sleep, they sleep all day. destroy their sleeping at night the ancient way. Okay, now in this third paragraph, poet is telling about the beneficiary who is getting benefit, that is politicians or a social worker who came to help the people, village people, but they are not helping, they are just taking their own benefit from it. They have given them good ideas, good promises, but they are not following any more. वो काम निकल जाता है. Okay, now I am explaining the third paragraph. Stranger. It was in the news that these people were to be evicted and relocated in the villages where they would have all the comforts. That means the social workers and the politicians are giving them bribes. They are showing their dreams, good dreams. Okay, you don't have to go anywhere to see the life, only they all come to you. Means relocated in the village, everything they want to see everything that the rich people are having, means the theater, the music system, the malls and everything. So the social workers and the politicians are telling, okay, we will everything make here in your village, so you don't have to move anywhere. Okay, they are giving fake promises. Were in the village where they would have all the comforts like theaters and shops and many more false promises. They would enjoy the facilities like the people in the cities. However, the poet feel that the government and the so-called social worker were actually greedy, who appeared to be doing good for the poor village folk are in fact exploiting them. They gave them an illusion of security and better living standard, but are actually harming them by taking away their human rights and their lands. What the people they are doing, they are just playing with their emotions and just taking their human rights and their lands also. Okay, so in the fourth stanza, what poet feels that he is expressing. Sometimes I feel myself as I can hardly bear that thought of so much childish longing in a vein, the sadness that lurk near the open window here there, that waits all day in almost open prayer for the sequel of breaks the sound of a stopping car, of all the thousand selfish cars that pass. Just want to inquire what a farmer's price are, and not did stop, but only to plough up grass in using the yard to back and turn around, and another to ask the way to where it was born. Okay, so in this, now what poet wants to explain is that in the stanza, the poet feels miserable and helpless when he sees the childish longing of the rural folks for money. He feels disturbed because their wish is never going to be fulfilled. The owner of the stand keeps their window open, hoping and praying for some passing vehicles to stop at their doorstep. They become sad because no one really stops. Out of the innumerable cars that passed one stop but just to inquire the price of things sold there. Another stop just to use the back, backyard of the stand to reverse their car. Yet another stop just to inquire about the direction for their destination. Still another stop but wanted to know if they could sell them a gallon of gas, means a petrol. The owner was angry and told them that they could see that they were not selling any gas. The appeal of the rural people was sad because they saw no sympathy from the city people and they felt left out from the lives led by the people in the city. Means now the poet is expressing the village people experience, okay, what they are feeling, and they want que people stop and buy something from our shop, but they are not doing anything. They are just inquiring about the food or the fruits, or they are inquiring about the direction, or they are inquiring about the petrol, but they are not, they can easily see that they are not selling any petrol over there. They are selling food products. Then two people are asking this silly and childish question to the people. Okay. And with the last, we are with the last stanza, and now I am reading the lines. No in country money, the country scale of gain, the request lift of spirit has never been found, or so the voice of the country seems to complain. I cannot help owning the great relief it would be to put these people at one stroke out of their pain, and then next day as I come back into the scene, I wonder how I should like you to come to me and offer to put me gently out of my pain. Okay, now I am explaining the last stanza. Okay, so here the poet understood that the village people never stood to gain in terms of money. They were unable to get the required lift of spirit in their lifetime. Therefore, they complained the poet felt that it would be a great relief if the pain of the village folks could be put out with one stroke. Then the next day, when he comes to his sense, he realized that the stroke was not the right option. He wanted someone to gently remove his pain of seeing an anger of the rustic people. Rustic means rude people. Okay, here with this we completed our poem line explanation, stanza wise explanation, and I will put the poetic device and the meanings, okay, in the group, and you will follow it and write it in the classwork notebook. Okay, thank you.